everyone. Now she looks happy. Yeah, say hi, everyone. You can't see my face. Hey, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Monsters and Mythology. I'm TM Sparrow, writer and homeschooling mom, and today I'm going to dive into some Norse werewolf legends. When my good friend Stig Deerdahl requested a video on Norse werewolf legends, there were two that immediately came to mind. The immensely convoluted Volsunga Saga and the no less convoluted story of Fenrir. Now, Norse mythology is a trip, and I may have to do a video or 5 on some of those for you in the future. But, because we have another full moon, this video is dedicated to my favorite supernatural creature, the werewolf, and also to my good friend Stig. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole saga of the Volsungs here, because it is a very long and complex story. All that you need to know is that Sigmund is the last surviving Volsung son, after his father and brothers were all killed by his sister's husband. At some point, his sister, Signy, tricked him into sleeping with her so that they could have a son, Sinfiotli. So one day, Sigmund and his nephew son are walking in the woods when they come across some bandits. Now, in some versions of the story, they track the bandits for a few days and discover that they have these wolf pelts that they put on and turn into wolves for 10 days. So then they decide to kill these bandits and take the wolf pelts for themselves. In other versions, they find the bandits sleeping with the pelts hanging up over them, or they just find the pelts unattended. Either way, Sigmund and Sinfiotli get the pelts and put them on, regardless of whether or not they knew what was going to happen. After they were transformed, the two made an agreement that if they came upon any men, they wouldn't take on over a certain number without calling to the other for help. And I believe that number was 10. So the agreement made, they go their separate ways for their 10 days of being wolves. But while they're separated, Sinfiotli comes across a group of 11 men, and he fights them and kills them on his own. When they were reunited and Sigmund found out about this, he became so angry that he began to fight with Sinfiotli. And in the end, he mortally wounded him. Now, Sigmund thought that his nephew's son was going to die, but Odin sent one of his ravens with a leaf, and Sigmund pressed the leaf to Sinfiotli's wound, and it healed him. Soon after, the two regained their human forms and then burned the wolf pelts, evidently having decided that being a wolf wasn't actually all that great. Just a quick note before I move on, the Volsunga Saga is a really fascinating story, even if it is long and strange and complex. If you're interested in hearing the rest of the story, I highly recommend the series of episodes on it from the Myth and Legends podcast, which is where I first heard the story. If you want to check that out, I will link that in the description below for you. Now, people using wolf pelts or belts made of wolf skin is a really common thing in a lot of the old werewolf lore. In fact, in the era of the witch trials, there were a lot of stories about people who made deals with the devil to get those items. The most famous of which is the Bedburg werewolf Peter Stube, who I will be doing a video on next month. It is theorized that this detail was inspired by the Viking berserkers, although there is still some debate as to whether or not the berserkers actually existed. Berserker is a word that means bearskin, and it's unclear whether or not they went into battle wearing bearskins or wolfskins or completely in the nude. There are tapestries and other artworks that depict both, so maybe they did both at different times, maybe it varied, I don't know. Regardless of their state of dress, the berserkers were fierce warriors who fought in a trance so deep that, consumed by bloodlust, they ran into battle heedless of any danger to their lives or any exposed body parts. As you may have guessed already, this is where the term going berserk came from. So, looking at these details, it's easy to see how some of the werewolf legends could have been inspired by these warriors. I'm not sure if he counts as a werewolf per se, but there is a wolf that features prominently in Norse mythology. Many, if not all of you, are probably already familiar with the trickster god Loki from the Marvel movies. Now, naturally, these movies don't follow the mythology exactly, but one thing that they do get right is Loki's mercurial nature. Sometimes he's a friend to the gods, and other times he's an enemy. Like many of the gods in many pantheons, Loki had a lot of children, only his are a bit more unique. There was the eight-legged horse Sleipnir, the serpent Jormungandr, the goddess Hel, and the monstrous wolf Fenrir. Norse mythology is wild in a way the Greeks could only dream of. So there's a lot to Norse mythology and Ragnarok, and I really only have a passing familiarity with any of it. But one thing that I do know is that Fenrir is supposed to play a pretty big part in Ragnarok. So there's a lot to Norse mythology and Ragnarok, the end of the world, and I really only have a passing familiarity with most of it. But one thing that I do know is that Fenrir is supposed to play a pretty big part in Ragnarok. So the story goes that the gods took Fenrir from his parents as soon as he was born, hoping that by raising him themselves, they could keep him under control. However, he grew at an accelerated rate that frightened the gods. So they decided that the only possible answer was to bind him. It took 3 attempts disguised as a contest of strength. And by the 3rd attempt, Fenrir was of course growing suspicious. So, since the first 2 tries didn't work, the gods had the dwarves forge an unbreakable chain that also had the appearance of being soft and flexible. Now, Fenrir, being somewhat smart, refused to let them bind him a 3rd time unless one of the gods would place an arm in his mouth as a show of good faith. And of course, knowing what was going to happen, none of the gods wanted to do this, because obviously it was a trap, and they were going to lose an arm. The god Tyr was the only one who would volunteer, even though he knew he was going to lose his arm. So Fenrir let them put the chain on him, and once he figured out what was going on, he bit off Tyr's arm, which is how Tyr earned the name of being the one-armed god. And not satisfied with just chaining and trapping Fenrir, the gods also took a sword and put it in his mouth to keep his jaws open. I'm not really sure that anyone can blame Fenrir about being upset about this, especially because, as far as I can tell, the only thing he had done at this point was just be Loki's son. But, as always seems to be the case in mythology, there was a prophecy that if Fenrir was allowed to run wild and free, he would devour the world. So it sounds like the gods really just created a self-fulfilling prophecy, because it still said that one day Fenrir will escape from his chains and devour the world and possibly the sun, and then kill Odin before being killed by one of Odin's sons. So with that bleak prophecy, I am out of wolf legends for you today. I hope that you enjoyed learning about some Nordic werewolf legends. I always have so much fun researching these videos for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like, or you can let me know in the comments below. Or you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. See you next time!
Hi.
Tell them what your name is in case they forgot.
Ava, just in case you forgot.
Ava. Okay, Ava. What's your favorite song, Ava?
I'm a paleontologist.
And why is that your favorite song?
Because it's about a paleontologist.
Mhm.
And I love dinos and paleontology.
So what do you want to be when you grow up?
A paleontologist.
A paleontologist. You're going to be the best paleontologist you can be, huh? Okay. If you discover a new dinosaur, what would you call it?
I know.
What?
If it's a new kind of raptor, I would name it the Mavaraptor.
The Mavaraptor? Okay, why that?
It sounds really cool.
It does sound really cool. Why don't you tell everybody what your favorite dinosaur is?
My favorite dinosaur is the T-Rex and the Protoceratops.
The Protoceratops and
the
the T-Rex. Okay.
And Velociraptor.
Those are cool dinosaurs.
Yeah.
You want to ask me a question for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the name of your book that you're writing right now?
The name of the book that I'm writing right now, it's called Asylum.
Have you told everyone about it?
I've mentioned it a few times. I haven't really said a lot about it because it's not done yet.
Yep.
You want to know what it's about?
Yeah.
Werewolves.
Wolfies.
Wolfies. Ow! All right, you tell everybody bye.
Bye.
I love you.
I love you too.
Oh, my earring got caught on your hair.
I feel it right here.
Mm-hmm. Is that my chewy pup? No, it's a Pen. It's okay. I'm just trying to make you YouTube famous.
Look at all that.
Yes. Oh, shedding. I think I have penny hair in my mouth. Oh, I love you too. Say hi, everyone. I'm Penny Sparrow, doggy and doggy.
Penny. I'm Penny Sparrow, doggy and doggy and doggy.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Monsters. Hey, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Little Girl Giggles. Hey, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Ava.
What?
You gave me your giggles. Hey, everyone, and welcome to another edition.
I love you.
I love you too.
Bum, bum, bum.
I forgot what was in this video when I let my kid stay in here while I was recording it.
I'm never letting go.
You have to. I can't record a video with a monkey in my lap.
Yes, you can.
I go like this. When my good friend Stig Deerdoll requested to whom this video is dedicated.
Sorry, everyone.
Norse mythology is a trip, and I may do a video or 5 on that in the future, but because we have a full moon, this is a bonus video dedicated to my favorite mythological creature, the werewolf. Just a quick note before I move on, Sure, French words I can do just fine. Norse words, where I actually have ancestors from, not so much. Volsunga, Volsunga, Volsunga. But the god Tyr volunteered. Tyr volunteered